Get ready, Ohio. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to the Buckeye State. And to kick things off, you can get started with $100 in free bets as an early sign-up bonus. Plus, when you sign up today with promo code OhioSB, you'll be all set for when FanDuel goes live in Ohio. Then you can bet on all your favorite teams and all your favorite sports with $100 in free bets. Just download FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Ohio, this is your chance to get in on the action. Join today with promo code OhioSB. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in Ohio. Bonus issued in non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money sports wager in Ohio on 1/1/23. Unique user identity verification required. Offer ends on the go-live date. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Thanks for joining me for another Blunt Business on CannabisRadio.com. Appreciate all of you subscribing to the show, listening to the shows you always do each and every week. The last couple of weeks I've been running some feature interviews I had over my sister series, Grassroots Marketing, which you can also subscribe wherever you find Blunt Business. And I wanted to make sure to just give context with some of the episodes we've had on, because I like to refer them on the Blunt Business program, and having you to go ahead and search around when I can just make it easy, just drop it in here for you, abbreviated, so it's easy to go ahead and grab and listen into. I want to just bring this all together so you have this. So I have one more episode to bring a couple interviews to the fray that I wanted to make sure you got to check out for yourselves. Now, 2 episodes here. I have Josh Koppel, who's with Wowee and Zeldavision, digital media platforms, and to realize where Josh has come from to be into the cannabis space is a fascinating story in its own. And then a legendary name in the space, who is my guest right now on the program. We're going to feature that interview now. The founder of Wonderbrett, Brett Feldman, who needs no other further introduction. We're just going to get right into the interview with him here on Blunt Business. Check it out. When you have the dispensaries, and you, like you said, you opened a flagship store in Hollywood, and
yeah,
what has happened so far is, I mean, obviously people out here are familiar with the strains, and then the environment you're trying to create now for those to come in and check what you have. Talk to me about, as you're building the concept to new stores, what is it that you want to definitely put that resonates with those that come in to visit each store?
Well, when they come to the store, it should just be this very relaxing, enjoyable experience that's fun, and you don't feel the pressure of, like, you know, the system trying to push you in and out, so that you can enjoy the environment that we created. Right? It's akin to like I'd almost say a cannabis museum type feel, in the sense of the way things are being displayed, the attention to detail in the art side of things. And then I'd say that, like, really the power of the store, of coming to the Wonderbrett store, is that you're actually going to see the full menu, and you're going to get all the different flavors of the flower in one place that should be there. You're going to get all of the new products that will be available, like the fruit chews and the new vape carts that we just launched. Then we can also create, like, special experiences as you start to have that whole collection available, and you get to see and absorb what the brand has really actually created. You don't really get to see that, when you go to other locations and you go to other stores. Mm-hmm. We work within their framework, and the brand has a lot of unique, strains and assets that we've created that they need a place like a store of our own store to really kind of create that Wonderbrett universe for you to walk in and get that whole environmental vibe, versus just like seeing a tiny display case where they got our boxes, and listen, not trying to knock any store that we're in. Like, I appreciate being in everybody's store, and it is what it is. It's a competitive space, but I really like the environment that we've created when you get to be at our store. So
that makes all the sense in the world, because you think about, you could only do so much when it's not your store, but when it is your store, sky's the limit. the one thing is you just referenced a couple of things when it comes to new products you have. We briefly touched on the fact of, there's a lot of partnerships you've made with a lot of the dispensaries. I mean, or a lot of companies, which, by the way, you probably have, you probably have partnered up with about half the guests I've had on Blunt Business in my time, like more dozens out there. Okay. And then you mentioned back in August that there was the strain specific solventless hash rosin chews that came out. And then also you just mentioned about now, which is where what really got our attention this time around was the fact that you've now created live resin carts showcasing your brand's ultimate premium genetics. That's lemon OZ Kush, orange sunset, strawberry Bliss, orange banana, pink Picasso, and peach Oz or OZ. And distillate-free, 100% live resin oil cartridge, real terpenes, zero additives. Take me through these resin carts and really just, the purity, the premium access, and really what kind of a feel, and what's really kind of stood out that people have really latched on to among the flavors you have.
Yeah. So the brand really has it's been a long journey to create those carts. And that's, I'm talking years and years of development when it comes to genetics, to find the right kind of genetics that would perform well in flower and perform well in a live resin cart. So just like the curation and selection of the breeding process has been one of the longest processes of it all, right? And then finding the top extractors and best labs to work with. And along that process of searching for that, we found a really good partner who is a part of our brand. This kid, he's a young kid. His name is Noah. And he's a great extraction artist. And we've been able to take him and work with him for probably 6-7 years now, developing this type of cart to work the way that it does, and really just have the extraction process so geared and focused to preserve terpenes at the highest level. So when we cut down fresh frozen so that we process it and we get it in the freezer within 15 minutes so we don't, degrade any of the product, and how we handle it, we take it out of the freezer before it even goes into the extraction unit, and then all the unique, steps that we use and go through to have that hash turn out that way, to crash the way we do it. We crash it into diamonds and we make a sauce. So we crash it into diamonds and HTE. We separate the two. Then we melt the diamonds instead of using a distillate, and then we add back the right ratio of terpenes so that it tastes really smooth and enjoyable. A lot of people, if we just put all the terpenes right back into there, it'd be too astringent and your nose would kind of burn and wouldn't be as good. Terpenes can be really strong. So it's really about formulating the cart properly too, so that it's to the highest level of flavor without giving you that type of, unpleasant, over terpene type experience.
It's the epitome of what California is best known for craft cannabis, which unfortunately I wish the governor over there in California would kind of help out, more companies, more groups like yours that are kind of getting, disenfranchised a bit from what's going on in terms of the tax revenue that's being picked up. Even for what the expansion you want to do right now, and you have out there, which I mentioned before, the kind of struggle there is. But I'll tell you one thing I noticed when I look at your websites, Wonderbrett.com, WonderBrettStore.com. I think of splashes of color. Very colorful. The stores, the products, the flavors, and obviously you always have a very good bunch of artistic mind, and color, that full rainbow, that whole spectrum is what you look to go and bring forward. Talk to me about that. What is it that you feel that is what encompasses the whole idea of everything that you put into that has to be just a rainbow, a macabre of different colors?
I would just say basically just ask yourself, what's life without color?
Yeah.
Right. And color to me is flavor. So it's color, flavor, swag, style, everything is involved in that basic, question of what's life without color. So When you bring color into it, it just it inspires a level of passion that comes out of things that you just didn't see at first, right? And ideas start to connect in your mind about how to make a logo surrounding, supporting this color and this flavor and all of these aspects. And it's in the sense of like, you know, something about rainbows are so, you know, the color spectrum or a rainbow, it's so majestic or mystical when you see one that just pops out over the sky. And it's, you know, they're huge and it's going from one part of the sky to the other, you know, and you see maybe some double rainbow or something like that. With these strains and this brand and the colors and stuff, it's like we kind of feel like we're building our own rainbow of flavors. And instead of just being like, oh yeah, taste the rainbow, it's like we're going to build the rainbow out of our own personal taste, you know, for flavor. So that really,
well, there's no, cannabis doesn't have to be just green. We don't have to have just the color green. It's a nice color, but we want to have other colors. That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, the way the bulk market goes these days, you might as well just make that purple.
That's true. Well, I always remember when I was growing up, it was enough people was like, well, if you're not getting your weed with a little bit of purple on it, a little bit of Kush, there's something wrong. Yeah. It's like you don't have the color, you know. Especially when I'm here in South Florida, and I have enough friends of mine back in the '90s where it's like, oh yeah, you're holding on the regs, but I'm holding on the crippy. It's purple. Look at that. Look at the purple.
Yeah.
So with that said, I could never go into the story that you've done and what you've done with the brand, and I can look back up. There's a whole lot that can be said, but you have done your work, and your cultivation site indoor, 22,000 square feet, canopy, footprint across, 36 individual grow rooms. And this is going back to a story I'm reading here from December of last year. And you also make a point, you say that, quote, on a small grow, it's easy to have control. Quote, you're always going to be able to be the guy who is there all the time, who sleeps with the grow, right? This is different. And I noticed that, you know, as you're talking to me, you are circling the cultivation facility. You are, you know, you're encompassing the land. It's like you live, work, breathe, and stay encompassed in what you do in this work.
Yeah. I think that if you're a brand owner in this space and you're a, you know, I don't know, maybe you want to call yourself upper management or whatever, but if you're not like eat, sleep, and breathing this thing all day and night, you're not going to survive. It's just too competitive. You have to be on your toes. And this thing is a large ship. When you talk about like trying to react to the market or make a shift, it takes months, 3 to 6 months to change something, bring in a new strain. It takes 2 years to develop a new strain, embed it, to put it into the market. So when you see we launched like 4 strains in 2021, that was work that was started in 2019, 2018 of breeding, selecting, pheno hunting, and doing these things. So it's like the ship doesn't turn that easy, and you really just got to be on it all the time. And if you don't want it this bad, like you're just you're gonna be something else. You need to do something else.
When you look back and you say, okay, there's all these MSOs that are coming up. We see the expansion of MSOs across the board. We see a lot of major, distributors, cultivators, and latch with dispensaries themselves. But you've come into the game with all the experience, and you're an OG of this industry. While there's others that might have Fortune 500 type C-level executives that came in to the space to create the organization, the structure. But yet in the same vein, those MSOs might have their own setup, but you found your same way in. What do you say to those other smaller entrepreneurs out there that want to get in the industry, or they're in right now in the fight, say in California or in other states that are just starting up? What is it that you would say to inspire them? And what is something you could say as a takeaway from what you've learned that you could share?
Just go slow and steady. Don't overextend yourself. Don't put yourself in a position where you can get hurt in your business, and really focus on your niche. Like we focused on just box flower for like 6-7 years before we were able to even really feel comfortable to put out, grams of hash and BHO. And then, another 2 years goes by and we finally got our edibles and fruit chews and the solventless hash the way we want it. And it's not that we couldn't make it sooner. It's just that you can't make it the way you want to at scale and support it in this. Like, I don't want to launch a product and then have to pull it back or have it get on the shelf super hard and work to get that achieved, and then have it not be there available, and then have the stores be like, well, if you don't have the product for me to sell it, then I have to give the space to somebody else. Mm-hmm. Like, so, you really have to just be very focused, and you have to have a very methodical mindset of how to approach these things, and be patient, because, if you just try and go too fast, it can really hurt you. There's a lot of, things you will learn along the way that will help you from not losing money from, changes in package regulations or labeling regulations, or just, all these things. And, you look behind me, and really it's like the only reason I could get this done is because the team that is here, like the people that are supporting all of this, I have a vision, and my partner, Cameron, who we started the brand together, we have a vision of what we wanted this brand to be, and we're trying to execute it right now. And it's tough. I would be lying to sit there and say like, oh yeah, it's just like I'm skipping around the building and smoking joints all day. And, like, it's not that way. It's a tough grind. Yeah. It's worth it though. This is our dream to do this. And, we're willing to fight, in the trenches, tooth and nail till the end, but we're doing pretty good though. I mean, we've expanded in Michigan, and we've done well there. And we're expanding into another state. I wish I could announce it right now, but I can't. Right. But it's the ink is almost dry. So, that is the part where we have to do, to bring our brand across the country and keep it limited and high quality production. Right. So, these big MSOs versus us, and how we got to where we are and stuff like that. It's a different game. We scrapped it together with a small team. Those guys built it with money. And, it looks good for a while, but if they don't figure out how to make money and actually have a sustainable business models, then all they really are is good at raising money.
Yeah.
And that's just not going to work in the long term. Like, this is a farming industry, and it's expensive to create product, and you have to just do this properly. Like, there's not a lot of room for error, right? No. So it's a very expensive, high stakes game.
Coming up next year on the program, my interview with Josh Koppel of Wowee and Zeldavision. We're going to learn about all that's going on with him, the creation of Zeldavision, and how it comes into this new cannabis platform called Wowee, WOWEE. That's coming up after a short break.
Rolling into some sponsors, but we'll be right back with more Blunt Business.
Welcome back to Blunt Business. Time now for my interview with Josh Koppel. Here it is.
Zeldavision really started in about 2019 with that work that we did for Adult Swim. But in 2020, it really, it just, the whole work from home sort of world paired with, the ability to bring that format to other spaces. In this case, it was political, to work with the Lincoln Project to basically be their live streaming arm. It was an amazing opportunity, that we had to be. Zoom was the thing that was making us all be home, and it was sort of the way we were connecting, the work way that we were connecting, and it was just an amazing confluence of events that we could sort of bring our process, which was a distributed idea, to that project, which to defeat Donald Trump, which was some of the most important work I think we've ever done. I've ever done in my career, was working on that.
Because the relationship we were able to go and make with the folks at Adult Swim, and able to go and put a pro.
Get ready, Ohio. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is coming to the Buckeye State. And to kick things off, you can get started with $100 in free bets as an early sign-up bonus. Plus, when you sign up today with promo code OhioSB, you'll be all set for when FanDuel goes live in Ohio. Then you can bet on all your favorite teams and all your favorite sports with $100 in free bets. Just download FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Ohio, this is your chance to get in on the action. Join today with promo code OhioSB. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 plus and present in Ohio. Bonus issued in non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money sports wager in Ohio on 1/1/23. Unique user identity verification required. Offer ends on the go-live date. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It's finally here. The Macy's Friends and Family Sale with an extra 30% off gifts they'll love. Get an extra 25% off dressed-up designer looks for kids from Calvin Klein and more, plus an extra 25% off Samsonite and Delsey luggage. With great prices from top designers, Macy's has all the best deals you won't want to miss this week. And don't forget to sign up for a Macy's card or use a coupon to get 15% off beauty products they'll love this season. Visit Macys.com to find great holiday deals today.
A program like the Lincoln Project, and the hosts, very recognizable. You see them a lot as pundits on CNN, and I believe MSNBC with Rick Wilson and Tara Setmeyer.
Oh yeah.
Plus also Tara Setmeyer having also numerous appearances on The View. How that project get together? I mean, how was that get formulated pretty quickly? Because they have a pretty good platform where they're at, but then to give them this extra platform, this platform here. How did you get them? What was the appeal that brought that project with all the money they have to it, and the work as being a disruptor in the political space? Talk to me about how you got that relationship together.
Okay, so this is basically in it's in 2020, and we're in the pandemic, and every day I'm watching Donald Trump do a terrible job trying to reassure the nation that it's going to be okay. And I'm watching, Dr. Fauci put his head in his hands, and I'm just feeling like this is the most like just that we're in a doomsday scenario, and like how the hell are we going to get out of it? How are we going to push through this? And the first people that I ever saw that I felt were pushing back and drawing blood were the Lincoln Project. They were fighting the way I felt that we need to fight. And so I was just a fan. I was just a person that was just just interested in what they were doing, like millions and millions of Americans. And so so one day I got this email
what was the platform? What was it that Zell Division provided to give
live streaming? So what we do is so my career has always been about choosing a technology and then essentially applying content to it, right? So before I was working in live streaming, I was working in apps basically. And I saw the iPhone and iPad, the multi-touch platform, as a game-changing sort of experience for content. And I built the platforms and sold the brands to bring, Sesame Street, all their books to the iPhone, or, Esquire magazine, Oprah magazine, kids books, textbooks, all sorts. I sort of look at content as a framework, and we, it's just like you're a podcasting pioneer, right? The platform of podcast, right? What am I going to pour into that platform? Am I going to pour true crime? Right. Am I going to pour radio drama? Am I going to pour in-depth, interview with no time limit? You kind of lean into the opportunity of what the technology provides, and you apply content to that. That's the thesis of my career, right? And so this most recent version is about live streaming, right? My belief is that, and actually live shopping, right? So my belief is that when you build a format and suddenly you're bringing the audience, you're doing live TV, but the audience can interact, right? That is a very different beast than just, watching, a TV show. And so, so what I've been doing, in Zell Division recently, for the last few years, is sort of building the muscle to make live streaming and then applying different types of content to it. And so
Now, but
Adult Swim is our first option.
What is it about
Yeah.
that where people are able to are drawn to go ahead and go to Zeldavision itself, or you're creating a live streaming product that can be distributed on the major video platforms that are out there, so people can
Yeah. I mean, in the case of the Lincoln Project and Adult Swim, those are two companies, two brands with major platforms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wowee is the first time that we've actually been the platform, which is why we're sort of starting from scratch.
Because of what you're doing.
Yeah.
First of all, one of the first things that really brought attention is the fact that you already have on this new network called Wowee is a show called Sell High, kind of the QVC of THC, and it just launched this past March 3rd.
Yep.
And it will be a hybrid, part dispensary, part variety show, all fun, every Thursday, offering deep discounts and merchandise giveaways. So now, when you talk about this, you mentioned there are no bud tenders in e-commerce, and we need them.
Yes.
And how's the customer supposed to wade through, quote, through thousands of cannabis products online? And Wowee TV is solving the problem by combining the convenience of e-commerce with a knowledgeable and charming human being. So it's like QVC with THC. This concept... obviously, what you've been able to do with these large clients with Lincoln Project and Adult Swim, that helped to fund something that's much more of a passion project, obviously, that a venture that you can go into where the cannabis space, you felt there was a need, Norman Vincent Peale, excuse me, find a need and fill it. You did that with this programming. Talk to me about that.
Well, so I really think that I think there's a big e-commerce problem in cannabis. And actually in e-commerce specifically. And not that I'm not saying that e-commerce isn't,
but then again,
a hugely valuable technology.
There's really not much can be done at the moment where it's a real national line where if you're going to be able to do product, e-commerce might be not so much a priority at the moment because we don't have legalization. We don't have that full interstate commerce. We can't just freely ship products nationwide, worldwide yet.
Well, yes, but since COVID, all the dispensaries that were not affiliated with, a really serious back-end e-commerce, have bought one, right? They bought one through Dutchie or they bought one through iHeartJane, right? That because cannabis was an essential service, all those companies, all those both from the ma and pa dispensary to the juggernaut, MSO dispensaries, the multi-states, they've had to, sort of quickly adapt and make and sort of build an e-commerce platform or, put their product in e-commerce because, as an essential service, they could still sell during the pandemic. And what that also meant was that, so what that's meant since then, and some of this is anecdotal, is that like 50% to 80% of the sales that are being made through where just it's a pickup, right? So what that means is that the dispensary has lost the opportunity to have the face-to-face interaction with their customer, which is a problem. And second of all, they've they're never getting the opportunity to upsell. Right. This is a complex product, right? Many use cases, right? I have pain. I can't sleep. I want to feel better. I have anxiety, or I just want to have fun, right? Like gigantic use case, sort of problem set. Add to that, localized, regionalized products, add to that, like tons of new product categories, like pills or salves or, flour or concentrates or suppositories. I mean, like there's so many different types of product. And, this is a complex product. So when you go to a website, if you go to just your dispensary website, I mean, like how's someone supposed to wade through that? Because e-commerce is not built for that, right? E-commerce is actually built for search algorithms, right? Like e-commerce is a kind of it's a normalizing of a product set, right? Photo, caption.
Now, I want to ask you, because of the products that you're able to go and feature in this first month in the month of March, you are featuring Incredibles, Rythm, Cann, and Dogwalkers. So this was where you were able to go and offer a marketing opportunity to them and talk to me about what you did to pitch these companies and what were some of the, if there were any qualifications that you needed so that this e-commerce idea would work best for the best exposure for them.
Well, so just to sort of table set sort of what this is basically we are working with 3 dispensaries in Illinois. So this is a test essentially, and those dispensaries basically have we're selling a product, and we're marketing to those dispensaries, right? So those people around those dispensaries, and we're basically pushing them to a website that has video, and that video essentially explains what a product is. Like, when we're talking about a product like Incredibles, right, which is got a product called Snoozeberries, right, which is about sleep, right? And so what we're doing is we're telling the story, helping people understand like how cannabis helps you with sleep. And then in the process of watching that, there's a little button on the side that you can tap on, and you can instantly go and buy that product. And so because I'm in a small group, right, I'm just in 3 little stores in Illinois. The people that are watching that tap on that. They takes them to essentially a place that says put in your zip code, and then that brings them to a store while the video is playing. So essentially, what we're doing is we're building like essentially a marketplace where people can go and have a different front door to e-commerce for cannabis, right? Because when you go to cannabis now, it's like if I go to like Weed Maps, first thing they're asking me to do is enter my enter my address. And mostly what I'm seeing is dispensaries around me, which is fine if I'm trying to get a product. But if I don't know what I'm looking for, I'm kind of having a difficult time. Then it's like concentrates, vapes, like flower. Then they're trying to sell me basically a category. But what they're not actually selling me is a problem, right? And the problem, the problem is that I have is that I don't know what I want when I go to a cannabis site.
That's the thing. What you're really doing is your hosts are bud tenders that are pretty well rounded, not just on the products themselves, but just to kind of give you an idea. They're taking the time, if you will, that you would never get in the dispensary because you have a lot of customer demand. You have a lot of people that are in there that are waiting to be looked after. And this is where you get this live stream where any questions on a product, those people get a chance at the least to find out, okay, so what can you tell me about this? What kind of a pungency, what kind of a texture, what am I going to feel from it? And you go through that. And now,
exactly,
are the products usually, what about there might be I would imagine there'd be an issue because some of these products can't just be shipped and sold everywhere. So do you have to specifically designate where they are coming from? Any geo-targeting done at all with this?
Well, so that's why there's 3 different dispensaries in 3 Chicago suburbs, right? So this is our first sort of this is basically a test of if this is possible.
The audience can be worldwide, so anybody can see just what these Chicago dispensaries are.
Oh, for sure. Right. Just the people that are able to buy at the moment are in the only people that can buy are close to those stores. But I think that our vision is that anyone watching Wowee can buy the dispensary near them. Because that's where this is going, right? I mean, this is going to be a national product, and there are products that are in multi-states, and we're just at the very beginning of this world. But we see a huge opportunity in, as products roll into new states, people need to know about them, need to understand them. They're not getting that possibility. I mean, they walk into a store, a dispensary, like, how do they know if a brand new, let's say a brand new edible brand is available, or is just rolling out in their state, beyond maybe a poster or a bud tender sort of telling them, but that might not happen anymore because now people are just picking up at the dispensary, right? So I think our goal is, we think that, first, our fundamental belief is that, cannabis improves your life. And, how do we help people learn about products, learn about activities that also improve their life, and then help them buy them in a simple way.
I like the concept. I like to see where everything goes with this and what kind of engagement you get now. So far, talking about this test work that you've already done so far, this trial with the Chicago dispensaries you're working with, what is it making you think you're going to do next? Where's the expansion for Wowee TV going next?
Well, I can't fully say because it's in process, but expanding to larger regions,
Right.
And
but you feel like that the performance of these programs so far they definitely prompt you to say, okay, we're going to do something more with this. There's more in this project. Let's just keep exploring and stay tuned for more coming up.
Yes, I would definitely say that we're very heartened by the response.
And so we're going to direct people over to WowEelive.tv. And by the way, we're not just talking about live streaming. You have a lot of programming on demand. So WOWEE live.tv. WOWEE live.tv. And I also see that your program is also available on Vimeo. Are any other platforms that people can find it that's being distributed on?
You can see clips of it on our Instagram, which is It's Wowee. We also have a ton of content on YouTube. Before we did Sell High, we did a show called Flower Hour, which is a sort of a loose hour about cannabis and with experts and comedians, and sort of just a fun sort of hang talking about like what we love about cannabis and how cannabis improves our lives. Which is something that we feel like we have not seen programming out there about cannabis that's sort of celebrating it the way we like it, which is that it's, we want to feel good and we want to enjoy this plant, and we want to also do other things. And we like to talk about how I feel like cannabis is a spark, right? It's the catalyst to things that are about to happen that are really fun. And that, our whole vision about sort of explaining how cannabis works is by showing people using it. Like that's one of the things that happens on Sell High. People take the products and they tell us how it feels during the show, because I think it's really important. This product is like no other product out there, in the sense that it changes how you perceive the world. Not that that's grandiose, but it changes your perception. Sure. If it's working, right? And so we do a lot of product tests that basically are what we call our experiential product reviews. We call them test drives. And frankly, to answer your question from earlier, we did test drives for about 25 brands, and that's how we introduced ourselves. So we just said, listen, we've got this show coming out. We'd like to try to understand how to work with brands and how to make content that you're actually going to use or appreciate. So we're going to do it to you for free. Here, like we need you to basically, we need you to agree to basically promote the stuff that we're doing, because we felt that if people put the content we were making on social media, then it would actually be a validation that it was useful to them, as opposed to them not doing it, right? So we found that the brands did like posting our little videos on their websites, because on their social media, because it was showing what their product does, which is something that they are not allowed to do because they can't really advertise. So as a media company, we can. So
there's a lot of things overcome where it comes to, where certain content providers or distributors might suppress content that might be cannabis related. And obviously we know of that. Same thing with social media, but this venture is good. The production quality is very solid. And
thank you.
Like I said, what really fascinated me was, you definitely got a really interesting concept with this project here with Wowee TV, but then also just thinking, the track record you've already given out. You can only see how well things go from here. So I'm really interested. So again, website is WowEelive.tv, WOWEE live.tv, and Josh Koppel, co-founder of Zelda Vision and Wowee TV. Glad to have you on.
Thank you so much. Nice to see you.
And that's going to do it for Blunt Business. Thanks for listening in, as you always do. We're back with some new episodes here on the program on the next episode. Thanks for listening in. We'll talk to you next time. The opinions expressed on this CannabisRadio.com program are those of the guests and hosts and do not necessarily reflect those of the staff and management of CannabisRadio.com. Any rebroadcast, republication, or retransmission of this program without proper consent is prohibited.